Hi, I'm that guy's Will, and I'm playing Squishies. This is Viewer Takeover.
This is PSVR Gamescast Live, where we film live every... Oh, geez, now I'm totally screwed up. Because this is the first week of Gamescast Live filming, coming to you live every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. So Viewer Takeover not only gets aired before the Gamescast Live, but it's still not live, and we still film it Tuesday.
So now the live show can actually reference to the stuff that's going on in the Viewer Takeover that happened before it.
This is so confusing.
Yeah.
My whole world has just been turned upside down. But I'm Brian Paul. That's Desra.
Hi.
I called you Desra the Magician last week.
Yes.
That's Desra the Strange.
Hello.
I like that a lot better, since that is your name. And this is Viewer Takeover, where we dive into the comments, we dive into the Discord, and we find all the questions that we want to answer, mostly with the hashtag Viewer Takeover. I kind of had to beg for questions this week.
Oh no.
Guys, you're slacking on the Viewer Takeover questions.
This show isn't going away.
No, this show is still a thing. So make sure that if you want your questions or comments read or answered on the air to the best of our ability, which is generally on the low side, make sure you put hashtag Viewer Takeover, all one word, in the comments, and we will find them because, trust me, I search for hashtag Viewer Takeover. Mm-hmm. But first, we want to thank that guy is Will for that awesome introduction.
Hey, let your squishy flag fly, man.
He's great, man. I fucking love. If I haven't made it clear, I love that guy as Will. And man, that was a fantastic introduction. I told everybody the next couple were going to be great, and that was one of them I was talking about. Next week, I think, is even funnier.
Oh,
yeah, it's good stuff.
Okay.
So thank you very much, that guy as Will, for your awesome introduction. If you want to introduce next week's Viewer Takeover, I just told you can't because we got one lined up. But if you want to introduce the one after that, make sure you send us a video to withoutparole@gmail.com. Keep it short, keep it sexy, keep it simple. Also, keep it real short because it's a Gmail account.
Short would be great.
But also, there's a few other people we want to thank, and they're all down here, aren't they? These are our loyal Patreon supporters. These are the people who went to patreon.com/withoutparole
games,
and they're giving us $1 or more every single month because they're really generous.
That's crazy. Yes, they're very generous, and they want to support whatever's happening here, and we couldn't be more thankful.
Yeah, really. It's like we've said it over and over and over. It's like literally you could lose $1 every month and not even realize it. Mm-hmm. But like if you give it to us, it adds up, and we really appreciate it.
It does.
Okay? And also, we don't just give you nothing for your $1. Mm-hmm. What do we give them?
Well, we give them the litter box.
Right.
It's a special content only for Patreon subscribers where typically Brian and myself talk about
whatever's on our minds.
Yeah. It's usually game related at the beginning and then kind of goes off into whatever our sleep-addled brains... A
lot of people have called it a backstage pass to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, it kind of is that. Yeah, we just want to see some of the ideas and planning we have for what's going on happen in our discussions during the litter box.
And sometimes we ask you your opinion so you can be part of the decision-making process. Mm-hmm. Usually we don't.
Yep.
Just being fair. But the Patreon supporters aren't the only people we want to thank this week. Are they, Des?
No, they aren't.
That was a plural thing. I was like, is they Des?
Is they Des?
Are they?
Is they Aunt My Desi? No, we want to thank people who took the Beauty and the Decay's lead and changed their name to something the Gamecast.
But that one's already taken.
That is already taken in multiple places and multiple channels.
Yeah.
So this week we have Captain Reth. Ooh. The Intergalactic Game Cat. So Captain has gotten a promotion. Congratulations, Reth.
Yeah, what up, Robert Meadows?
We also have Damien R, the Game Cat.
I just love that. I feel like his name's Damien R. Like what? Yeah. But also, I keep thinking. Do you ever play Sonic R? It was like in the age of like where everything was being turned into a kart racer.
Yes.
Well, there was Sonic R, but they weren't in karts. They were just running around the track because Sonic's fast.
Okay.
And so I'm like, so it's either Damien R, because his last name's like Richardson.
Yes.
And what if it was really Richardson? I just nailed it. But also I like to think it's like this kid named Damien who's like running around the race.
With this like deep cut to a Sonic game. And of course, I'm not supposed to play favorites, but this is probably my favorite that I can think of for a while now. Strummer Joe, the Game Cat.
Bing. Pretty awesome.
Yeah. Where were you on Punk Day?
Wait, when was Punk Day?
I don't know. It was a couple weeks ago. We did.
Where was I on Punk Day? Where were you on Punk Day?
On the music channel on Discord. Like every once in a while,
Oh.
when I pop, like if I'm going to be there for a while, I'll pop in and we try to come up with a theme. And it was actually no, it was ska punk day. That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm a little less keen on that.
Yeah.
I also said keen, so I'm a little less cool as immediately.
And the last one, oh god, the last one I was part of, we knocked it out of the damn park, was 80s.
Okay.
Any genre, any style, just from January 1, 1980 to December 31st, 1989.
All right.
It was amazing. We had like probably a 4 or 5 hour long queue by the end of it.
No one invites me to anything.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for changing your name to GameCat. If you want it, if you change your name to GameCat, because of course those are the people who are the loyal followers of Without Parole, make sure you, well, first change your name to GameCat, and then you put hashtag GameCat somewhere in the comments.
So we can find you.
So I can find you, because I'm not going to search you out.
No.
There's a lot of you
I'm
now.
not going to read every single comment and every single... No.
I do actually read all the comments. But
Okay.
holy crap. It would just be too difficult to keep track during the week. All right, so that all aside, on Viewer Takeover, we talk about your questions, we review your questions, we answer your questions. Sometimes we just read comments and then move on.
Yes.
So first up comes from Rody the Game Cat. This is actually, you know what? Every single one is from our Discord server. Every
It
single
is.
one
You're
this
right.
week. There weren't really any questions on the channel.
YouTubers, what's up?
Yeah, they are YouTubers.
Yeah.
I don't know. So Rody asks, hashtag viewer takeover, because he knows what's up. So with the upcoming release of Afterlife, do you think there will be a resurgence of full motion video titles? I have terrible memories of Crime Patrol. Really? Terrible memories? It's Crime Patrol? Maybe I'm remembering the wrong game. In Night Trap,
Don't you have that around?
I have like 7 copies of Night Trap. I got re-released on everything, and I was like, limited run games, give me all of them. But there are some games, like Ripper, which I'm actually not familiar with at all, and Phantasmagoria, which I have the imported Saturn version of. Ooh. Didn't know there was one of those, did you? That showed that it was possible to have full motion video actually work in a game. Was there ever a full motion video game that you liked?
No.
No, pretty much no.
I mean, there were a lot of, like, I never really played any full motion video games.
Yeah.
Like I did, like, your Mist and your Riven, where we did full motion video as part of it, or Wing Commander, we had the, full motion video sort of interstitials, but yeah, not really my jam.
Yeah, I'm like writing down ones that I know I played, but like, I think with each of these, what happened, I think the problem with full motion video games...
Command and Conquer, didn't that have Tim Curry? No, what am I thinking of? There was one of them that had Tim Curry.
I don't know.
Oh, someone's got my back. Anyways.
Someone. But the problem with full motion video games but what's with me in pluralization today, is that they're cool for a minute, because they've got the full motion video, and it's like probably, whatever you're interested in, it's like that's what it's focused on.
Yeah.
Like, but then like it just doesn't play very well.
Right.
And it's like everything, the interface for whatever reason was always really janky. It's like, well, it never seemed like there was a true game developer behind any full motion video game.
Right.
It just seemed like you were operating with menus and stuff like that, and it was never a whole lot of fun. So the 3 that I listed are ones that I spent, I feel like, serious time with.
Yeah.
But I know I never beat them. And that's the X-Files.
Okay.
The original PlayStation 1 version, which was literally every time.
Yep.
Yeah, there's cops everywhere.
Every damn time.
Yes. X-Files. The reason it was so good is because it was like an episode of the X-Files. It had all the key people, and you'd be like, oh, yeah, that is a siren on our end, and it won't go away. What is happening? It's just like circling the building. That's all that's happening.
It's getting louder now.
It is getting louder.
Coming right for us.
Taking Back Sunday louder now. I'm like, I just want to wait for it to be over. The X-Files, because it was like an episode of the X-Files.
Yeah.
It was like all the characters you know and love, they were all there. And I was like, that's cool. Right? But it didn't play very well. I don't think, anyway. Fox Hunt, which was a PlayStation 1 game. Yeah, I don't know. It was really like, I know it was just like holdover from like the Sega C days, and they were like, okay, let's just push it out on something new. And I was like, okay, hey, full motion video. Its time has passed. Let's see what they're doing with it.
Yeah.
And the answer is not very much. Also is Psychic Detective, which was another PlayStation 1 that I played. And again, this is all stuff that like with themes that I should like. Murder and death and weird stuff.
Right. Well, the thing is too, like that was definitely an idea that was ahead of its time. Like, you needed these huge chunks of data, because that's what a video file is, that you need to be able to get to and play quickly.
Right.
You can't do that on a CD-ROM.
Right.
And not at any degree of quality. And so that's why you have the menus, because you have to find the menu, and it's going to go load that video, and it's just
the only one that worked really well, I think, and maybe possibly still. I mean, there are full motion video games out there. Oh crap! And now I really wish I knew.
Well, I guess Her Story would technically count.
Thank you. Her Story is exactly what I was trying to think of. That's what I keep you around for. Her Story is great.
Yeah, and that's the situation where now in modern computers it's very easy to get that video and dump it down very quickly and kind of.
You played Her Story, didn't you?
Loved it.
See,
absolutely.
You just answered the question.
Yeah.
Her Story is great.
So moving on. All right. I guess I wasn't thinking of that as a full motion video, but technically you're correct. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I loved it.
There's 2 sirens now.
They really like it for Her Story also.
I feel like they're just circling the building in different directions. Now there's
fire. Ooh.
Wow.
Is your building on fire? Should we check with someone?
I'm okay.
All right.
As long as we're still alive.
I know we're exclusively PSVR now, but oh my god, if you haven't played Her Story, I mean, it's stupid cheap and is just, especially in this world of like modern day, true crime stories and all that being a huge thing on Netflix and all that. Dude, just play it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Also, it's just because it's sort of the exception to the rule. I still feel like full motion video games aren't terribly good.
Right.
With Afterlife coming out, like I'm curious to see what VR can do to FMV. I don't have a lot of faith.
I think it works in Her Story because the whole conceit of the game is you're watching video clips.
Right. You're
sitting there watching video. So it's not like it's trying to trick you into thinking you're actually interacting in the world, which some of the less successful ones try and do.
Yeah, Corey Haim is not in this one. Right. Was that Double Switch? I think that's what Double Switch was.
Oh God, what's your name?
You're up, Asia.
All right. Anyways, this is from Haplo784 on the Discord server. #viewer takeover like a pro. While I'm thrilled the current headset will work with PS5, am I the only one pissed that I'll have to play PS5 VR games and still not have thumbsticks? Yes.
So there a lot of... Mark Cerny revealed a lot of things about PlayStation 5 that day. And he revealed that the PlayStation VR headset would totally be compatible with PlayStation 5.
Yes.
He didn't say anything about controllers.
He did not.
So he didn't say there are no new Move controllers coming.
He did not.
Next question.
Yeah, I think you have to work really, really hard to be upset about this news, personally.
Yeah.
Because, well, think of it like, a year ago, we were not sure, like, does Sony even like PSVR?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a change in last year.
But now it's just like, we're, again, the Sony state of play. State of play is like, PSVR is the thing we care about. The PS5 announcement comes out. They could have just said, here are the general stats, here's the stuff we're going to do it, and it's going to be backwards compatible. Oh, yeah, and by the way, PSVR support still.
Boom.
Right? So they are not only committed, like, when they're making their announcements of their biggest, shiniest, they're still saying, boom. And, yeah, like I said, we don't have a confirmation that it doesn't have thumbsticks, and that those aren't coming, but, dude.
Yeah, so
count your blessings.
No, I mean, I think we're in a very, very privileged situation
I've said dude way too many times today already.
I'm rubbing off on you.
I know.
We're in a privileged situation. I think, like no one expected Sony.
The Spanish Inquisition. Sorry.
Really?
Yep.
That's a way to derail this whole episode right now. But there's no one. Jesus. No, there was a point where we were like, man, everyone was like, oh, is Sony going to give up on this just because it's not selling well?
Yep.
And they have proven over and over and over again, and they've been relatively quiet about it for a while.
Yeah.
And only recently they've been a little more vocal about their absolute, feverish support. Fervent, feverish, both works. I don't know. Let's go with the first one.
Right.
We'll edit out the other one. Their support, and they're being more vocal about it now.
Yeah.
But man, like there was a while where we were just like, are you kidding me? Like, is this amazing thing?
Yeah.
Are we just gonna let this die? Really? Come on, we can't let that happen. And I think I now have re-established my faith that Sony is really heading in the right direction.
Absolutely. No, there is no question.
And my hope is that they're like, okay, PlayStation VR headset's going to be forward compatible with the PlayStation 5.
Sure.
I'm kind of like, I wonder, are they willing to put out new Move controllers with analog sticks soon and say, and don't worry, these are also going to be compatible with PlayStation 5 just to make you go, okay, so I'm going to buy these and they're future-proof. Yeah. I'm like, I actually feel more confident that we might get one of those announcements sooner rather than later. Because it's like, I don't think they're going to introduce a PlayStation VR 2 with PlayStation 5. That's way too much money to ask from consumers.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think they will, before PlayStation 5 launch, go, hey, here are those controllers you asked for, and don't worry, future-proof.
You don't think that's going to be in a one big old bundle?
I don't know. There'll probably be a bundle eventually with PSVR 2 and all this other crazy stuff. But whatever. I'm not concerned about what happens then.
Right.
I just want what I want now.
Yeah.
Just like Haplo.
Yeah. So the things we know for sure are all good news.
Yes.
And the rest of it is just, who knows?
Exactly. I'm up, Asia.
You're up.
This is Nerfenstein, a.k.a.
But she's in Australia.
Girly Gamer. She is in Australia.
Which I guess is Asia? Yeah, correct me on that.
Hashtag viewer takeover. If you guys could get one retro game remade in VR, what would it be and why? And by retro, I mean old school. PS1 and earlier, including Amiga, C64, Genesis, SNES, etc.
So when we say remade, do we mean 8-bit but in VR, or do we mean we're going to take the bare bones of this game and turn it into a VR experience?
I'm going to say the latter.
The latter. Okay.
Yeah, I would say this is a from the ground up AAA experience, or let's just say the way you want it to be made.
The original Legend of Zelda.
Okay.
Yep. I want the overworld, or
do you want it in first person?
Yeah, I want it in first person.
Nice.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. I want it first person. But
I still want the 8-bit soundtrack.
and sound effects.
Oh yeah.
Too, not just the music, all the sound effects. Either that or Dragon Warrior.
Nice.
I would love a full-on RPG, that style. And when I first played the first Dragon Warrior, it was like, oh my god, this world is so huge. Yeah, I guess those are my top two.
I'm only gonna give you one.
Tetris.
Stop it. It's not. It wasn't funny before the show. It's not funny during the show. I'm going to give you one.
Yes.
And it's gonna harken back to conversations we've had multiple times over the last week, and that is because of Ghost Giant.
Yes.
One of my favorite LucasArts game of all time.
Ooh.
I think they were still Lucasfilm at the time. Loom, the Brian Moriarty game.
Yep.
Because how amazing would it be to be Bob and Threadbare in first person and kind of see you in VR, a little bit of the hood cloaked over the headset.
Oh, I can see it.
Pick up with the move controller, pick up the staff, right? And there's a little part of me that wants voice control in this game.
Yeah.
Because what he does is I want to say that he sings the tune.
Yep.
And in old LucasArts adventure games or Lucasfilm adventure games, there would be all these verbs on the bottom of the screen.
Right.
You pick the verb and you pick what you want to interact with on the screen. But in Loom, there was just a staff in the bottom, the staff he was holding, but also a musical staff with all the different notes. And you had to know that ECED was the spell to open something.
Right.
And he would go, and then you cast and whatever. And just thinking about doing that in VR with the staff in hand and actually using your voice, meaning ECD, then pointing it, and then something opens and all this magical effects. I'm like, I can die now because that's the game I want.
All right.
You're welcome, Nerfenstein.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
And also, I do question SENS. That's retro.
Super Nintendo is not retro?
Well, I guess. I don't know.
16-bit.
I'm still old enough to think that's the new console.
She listed PlayStation 1 as a retro console, which is after it.
Yeah. We're old.
Yeah, everything. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. What's retro then if Super Nintendo's not?
I know. Well, I guess. Yeah. No. It is. I just remember.
I think everything from PlayStation 2 backwards is retro at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Suck getting old.
You're up, Asia.
All right. Rypop today.
Oh, that's his name on the Discord server.
I guess it is.
Okay.
Rypop today on Discord server.
Sure.
Hashtag viewer takeover like a pro. Given that Ghost Giant tackles a couple of hard real-life issues, what are your thoughts on the indie VR developers taking on a tough subject that the AAA companies dare not to touch? That is their job.
That's sort of like what indie developers have done since day one.
Yeah, it's just you know what? The AAA, I'm never going to get this made by the AAA titles because the mechanic is so weird, or the topic is so weird, or it's so untouchable. Yeah, that's where they shine. That's why I love indie developers, and you should too. We like our AAA titles, we like our big shinies, but a lot of the innovation in both, again, gameplay mechanic and storytelling and emotional depth is happening in indie games. So
yeah, two games specifically that go back to, not that long ago. It's not the birth of indie games. Obviously, they've been around for a while. But Gone Home. First of all, where the hell is Gone Home VR? I know it loses some impact when you already know the story.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a whole generation of people who haven't played that game yet and would have loved to
Absolutely.
play it in VR because I don't even want to tell you why because it would ruin it.
Yeah.
Okay, and also Braid.
Yeah.
Jonathan Blow's Braid
Yeah.
was like you're like, oh, it's like a Mario platformer until it's not.
No.
And then it's like, oh, I'm crying because and I'm playing a
Right.
platformer.
Yeah. Oh, it's just this cool,
Oh, and
messing
Thomas
with
was
time.
alone.
Yes.
Oh
Thomas-
my God! I was in San Francisco in my hotel room
Yeah.
playing Thomas Was Alone, crying because of rectangles.
Yeah.
Crying because of rectangles.
Yeah,
Hashtag Brian
that-
cries.
Yeah, there. I mean, and there's so many. Well, we already went on about
Her Story.
Her Story.
You're welcome.
And that's another perfect example. Just like a story that could not be touched by a big AAA developer. So yeah, that's what our indie folks are for, and that's why we love them so much.
That's right.
So yes.
So support your indie developer and go buy To the Top.
And do I think AAA titles should get some cojones and start tackling these concepts? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Will they? No.
I'm okay either way, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the indies got it covered. We don't need more. I don't know. All right. Next up is Metcat the Game Cat from the Discord server. He writes hashtag viewer takeover. Everyone knows what's up this week. He writes,
Yay.
do you think developers that are smaller, again, indies, I guess maybe indies, should create flat and VR versions of their games? It seems like when they do, the resolution goes so low that the VR version compared to the games are built from VR version compared to the games that are built from the ground up for it are far superior. He's trying to say, did I read it
Right.
wrong?
No, I think you got it. Basically, the flat version looks so much better than the VR version.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He said the games that come to mind are Kona. He says The Abduction. I think he means Abduction.
Abduction, yeah.
Yeah, Cyan. Falcon Age and Jupiter and Mars. Those are all great examples to talk about what you're talking about.
I'll throw Zing in there too, but actually Zing doesn't have a flat. I was thinking the Pro.
Zing does have a flat version.
I was thinking the Pro versus the
Pro versus OG.
Yeah, never mind. That's a whole different concept.
Because man, Pro is beautiful.
Yeah.
And OG is it's all right. Yeah.
I can see how it's beautiful. That's the OG version.
Here's my thing. I'm glad you brought up Zing.
Yeah.
Because Zing, there are 3 people on the White Lotus Interactive development team. 3 people, and they managed to make. I mean, a lot of PSVR gamers have a Pro at this point.
Yeah.
And I think that should kind of be the standard. No offense to anyone who hasn't upgraded yet. But I think like if you're super passionate about PlayStation VR and you have the means, I know not everyone does, then like at this point you probably should have upgraded to the Pro. I know you haven't. But so like I kind of look at it as the standard, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, we know that the standard PS4 isn't going to be quite as good, you know? But when you're playing something like Falcon Age and you're like, this all kind of looks a little washed out, and you're playing Jupiter and Mars and you're like, how is this like so low res and the whole deal? And yeah, especially like Kona. Kona looks like the Brookhaven experiment, but like in a world. The thing is there is an ability to make these games look better because White Lotus Interactive has proven how good games can look on PlayStation VR with a development team of 3 people. And when I asked them, how did you work such magic? They said, well, we worked such magic over 6 years.
Right.
So they just had the time. And so I think these smaller developers have to start going, well, listen, you know, maybe we need to find extra funding for our games so we can work on them longer. You know, Falcon Age had a super short development time. It was like a year and a half, not even. And it was like, that's an issue. Like, the first patch is out and it's better than ever, but you know what? It doesn't fix the fact that it's still not quite there. Yeah. So do I think that I want all of the developers to make VR versions of their games if possible. But really, who's buying Falcon Age so they can play it on a flat screen? Who's buying Jupiter and Mars so they can play it on a flat screen? You know, like Kona was already out, and Abduction was already out. But like in my book, they should have scrapped the 2D versions. I think the cops finally made it into the building. They shouldn't have even bothered with the flat screen versions. They should have just focused on VR and made sure the VR component was as best it could be. So I don't think they should make flat versions. I think they should focus on the audience that cares, which is the VR audience.
Yeah, I think. I mean, there's that, but then there's things like Here They Lie. Here They Lie. You know, like so that gets into the one of my sub philosophies is more options is always better. Sure, but then with VR, like I'm actually gonna table the resolution discussion because I think there are some games that the mechanic works so well in virtual reality that trying to just jam it into the flat version, it doesn't work. It does the game a disservice. And so people will try the flat version and say, oh, this game sucks, because they won't play it in VR. I think when the mechanics depend on VR, I don't think they should bother with a flat screen version. If it's a resolution thing, and for me as a developer, I'm thinking, well, maybe there's a small change I have to make, and more people can enjoy my game.
Right.
So that's.
I understand the difference. I just don't know. Like, I just don't know when people who people who are playing PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
They're not looking at. I really, really, really would love to see the statistics and see who bought Falcon Age for the flat screen, who bought Jupiter and Mars for the flat screen. I just don't think those people are out there. These are not people getting excited about these games.
Right.
I think this is literally the VR gamers are excited about them, and that is kind of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know though. I would rather them focus on the VR version if the statistics back up what I'm saying, and I don't know if they do. If they do, then yes. If not, then I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and finally,
from Niculo today on Discord server. Hey Nick.
Oh, you know what? I'm not editing the names properly. It wasn't Rypop today. It was just
Rypop today.
And it's not Nick. It isn't Niculo today. It's Niculo.
That's right.
Sorry, guys. I kind of did this last minute. Thank you for all your last minute questions, by the way. I love you all.
Right, because that's on Discord today.
It's bad at editing.
That's fun.
Constantly.
All right, so hashtag viewer takeover. Say Sony surprises us. Sony surprises us. And PSVR 2 comes with a neural link that allows you to feel, smell, taste everything in VR. What games do you play first? What games do you never touch with that thing connected? I think almost every game on Earth should never be smelled or tasted.
Yeah, because there is a real thing that got kickstarted very, very quickly that basically allows you to smell games in VR. But there's multiple things I hate about that.
Yeah.
First, I hate anything that's consumable. Right. I even hate the fact that I have to replace the ink in my printer.
Yes. Right.
So I have to replace. But also, I don't want to smell my games. I think virtual reality is real enough, and it tricks my brain enough. When you get that smoke blown in your face in the London heist, I was like, I smelled that smoke. I didn't need any attachment or Neuralink.
I mean, I think the harder question would be like, are there any games you would want to smell? I mean, like what? Most games are in these, bizarre, unusual situations. I don't want to smell Resident Evil.
I do,
even though I have a candle.
Yeah.
Or he has a candle.
If it's a Neuralink and it's not really fragrance like the other thing, and it's just tricking your brain into thinking these things, I would totally play Resident Evil 7 because I'd be like, okay, you know what? Suddenly I'm like, I can feel, smell, and taste everything in VR. I was like, I'm already petrified in that game. And if you start tricking my other senses into thinking that I'm really there, I'm like, it's just going to add that extra level of immersion where I'm like, ugh.
Have you ever smelled rotten, meat and dead animals and things like that?
Have you ever been in my kitchen?
Fair.
All right. About 3 weeks old at this point.
So I guess what we're saying is we already live it, Nick.
It's bad. It's real bad, Nick.
I'm just drawing a blank.
I want to know. I want to know what Shooty Fruity smells like.
Shooty Fruity probably smells
like Starburst.
Pretty good. Well, like Starburst and Cordite. So
and what?
Gunpowder.
Oh, okay,
smokeless gunpowder. Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah, it probably smells like.
What do you think Summer Lesson smells like, or tastes like, or feels like?
That's some dangerous territory there.
I think that's a great territory to get into.
And on that note,
probably a good note to stop on as well, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into Viewer Takeover. Again, if you want to send in your Viewer Takeover introduction, send it to withoutparole@gmail.com.
Oh my gosh! Actually, no. That moment when you're watching the fireworks at the beach, that'd be cool.
If you change your name to GameCat, hashtag GameCat in the comments. If you have a Viewer Takeover question you want to submit to us, make sure you put hashtag Viewer Takeover in the question or the comments so that we can find it next week. Also, join our Discord. Also, support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/withoutparole.
Games.
We love you all. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Without Parole calling. No, it doesn't scan.
I mean, try.
No, I'm not gonna do it.